Hello, today we are talking about Imbolc, and I'm going to give you some ideas for how to celebrate this Sabbat. In case we haven't met yet, my name is Maggie. I teach new witches how to be confident in themselves and to reconnect with their inner wisdom and personal power. And my greatest wish is for my students to feel empowered to pursue their life's purpose and to achieve their dreams. So that's a little bit about me and what the vision is for Mumbles and Things. But as I mentioned, we are talking about Imbolc today. And if you've already seen some of these other Wheel of the Year videos, which you can find in the unit section, the first one I did was for Mabon, there's one for Samhain and for Yule. So this is the fourth Wheel of the Year video. If you've seen those ones, this will be a little bit of a review. I do want to go over what the Wheel of the Year is for people who maybe haven't seen those videos or who have just joined the group. So, skip ahead if you don't want to hear it again, or pay attention for the review of what the Wheel of the Year is. Imbolc is one of the Sabbats on the Wheel of the Year. So I have this calendar to show you that has each of the 8 Sabbats on it. And as I mentioned, there's Mabon, which is at the fall equinox, and then we have Samhain, which is the Sabbat that corresponds with Halloween. Yule is at the winter solstice, and now we are at Imbolc, which is just in between the winter solstice and the spring equinox of Ostara. And then there's Bealtaine, Litha, and Lughnasadh as well. And so that's basically the Wheel of the Year. It follows the solar calendar. And by using this circular cyclical calendar, it's really easy to attune yourself with the natural energies of the Earth's changes based on the solar cycle, so a full year basically. And much of this is based on the agricultural timings of planting our crops in the spring, watching them grow throughout the summer, and then in the fall is a harvest time, and then a rest time in the winter. Many of us don't necessarily attune ourselves with the agricultural calendar. We're not preoccupied with it in the same way that our ancestors were, but I think it's important to remember nonetheless that this is kind of the origin of these Sabbats, and that's why some of the themes of the Sabbats pay attention to the agricultural timings and have a lot to do with some of the traditions of our agricultural ancestors. With that said, there are, out of the 8 Sabbats, 4 of these are solar holidays, so their timing depends on the solar cycle, and they kind of change each year. They're not always on the exact same date. So those are the winter solstice and the summer solstice, Yule and Litha, and the spring and fall equinoxes, so Ostara and Mabon. Those are the solar holidays, and again, those are just related to the position of the sun. The other 4 Sabbats are the fire festivals, and these are always on the same date, year in and year out. So those are Imbolc, which we're going to be talking about today, on February 2nd every year. Bealtaine is May 1st. Lughnasadh is August 1st. And Samhain is October 31st through November 1st. So they're all around the first of the month. Some of them are kind of crossing over into the next month. So that's kind of the layout of the Wheel of the Year. And again, we're talking about Imbolc today mostly. And if you are interested in some of these other holidays or Sabbats, you can check out the previous videos. There's also one I did for YouTube last May for Bealtaine, slightly different format, but still worth a view if you're interested in Bealtaine. And eventually we'll talk about the others as well, so that we have a complete set of videos and you can refer back to them as much as you want. But another resource that I have that I like to recommend is these books. They're published by Llewellyn, and they're just called Llewellyn's Sabot Essentials. And this one's for Imbolc, but they have one for each of the 8. And I love them a lot. They're broken up into old ways, new ways, so kind of like the way our ancestors might have celebrated some of these holidays in the past, and then the modern reinvention of how more modern witches might interpret the old ways. So there's a historical overview and then the modern updates. There's also sections on divination and recipes and crafts and prayers and invocations and rituals of celebration, and I really do enjoy it because you can choose what feels right to you based on what's in here. You can modify them to fit your practice, And then at the very back there is a index of correspondences for that season, which I find really useful for decorating my altar and for making substitutions in spells or rituals. If I don't have a certain crystal, I can go into the back and choose a different crystal that is still associated with this time of the year. So each one costs about $10, which is fairly inexpensive, and you don't necessarily need to buy the whole set, but you can just see what's the next one coming up, and you can get that one as it comes up, and then you can spread that cost over the whole year. And I do recommend them because it's a really great resource to have. Not affiliated with it or anything like that, just a supporter of it. Okay, so like I said, today we're talking about Imbolc. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you're actually probably going to be celebrating Lunasa, depending on your own practices. I know some southern hemisphere witches prefer to stick with what's going on in the northern hemisphere, but I also know that there are some southern hemisphere witches who prefer to align their practice with the actual seasonal changes. So in the southern hemisphere, you're kind of coming to the end of your summer rather than in the northern hemisphere where we're coming to the end of our winter. So if you are celebrating Lunasa at this time, I don't have a video for you, but I do have a blog post that you can find a link to in the comments section, and you can read a little bit about what you can do at Lunasa if you're not celebrating Imbolc. All right, so now moving on to talking about Imbolc specifically. This is one of my most favorite holidays or sabbats. It's very quietly exciting. We're coming out of the winter time, moving into the spring, and so it's about emerging life and the awakening of the natural world around us. And you may start to be seeing new life around you, maybe not, depending on where you are on the planet. Some places are really cold right now still, or experiencing extreme cold temperatures in some places in North America. But in other places you might start to see trees budding and maybe little sprouts coming out from the soil. So this is a good time to bring new life to any old projects and allow ideas that you have been reflecting on over the winter months to take hold. It is a time of cleansing and a chance to get crafty with your family and friends and to enjoy the wonders of the new life. So I have 7 ideas for you for celebrating Imbolc. The first is to honor the goddess and to pray for the cows. So Imbolc is an important date in the agricultural year. It's associated with fertility and abundance and growth. It is when the farmers would prepare their fields for the first sowing, and the fishermen would return from the sea after a winter away. Part of the early spring vibe of Imbolc in the agrarian societies has also been about lactation of mother animals. So a lot of the associations you'll see with Imbolc is milk. This is because cows' udders are starting to swell with milk at this time of the year, which is just in time for the births of their babies in the spring. So for me, Imbolc is an important reminder of the powerful and symbolic bond that mothers have to their children. And the bond is shared with all mammal mothers and their babies. Of course, industrialization and the growth of factory farming have vastly changed our relationship with other animals. So most milk cows have their babies actually taken away from them just as they're born in order for there to be milk for humans. The babies of the big dairy industries are unwanted byproducts of this industry, especially the males. And even at small operations, it is not cost effective for male babies and dairy calves to be kept. So even though fewer people are eating veal, these babies must be removed from their mothers at dairy operations and are often disposed of. And as cows are very maternal, they grieve horribly for the loss of their children. In fact, the maternal aspect of cows has caused them to be a symbol for many goddesses, including the Egyptian goddesses Hathor and Nut, the Norse goddess Breed, who is possibly the daughter or another version of the cow goddess Broen, and even the anguish of the Greek goddess Demeter when her daughter is stolen from her is easily rivaled by the misery of mother cows in the dairy operation. So this is why I like to send a blessing or a prayer to the cows at Imbolc. Now, fortunately, we no longer need to get all of our milk, cheese, or desserts from animal milk. And it has never been easier for many of us to choose to forgo animal products completely. Milk can be made from many different ingredients: almond milk, soy milk, coconut milk. These seem to be the most popular varieties, but there are also rice milks, oat milks, and hemp milks as well that are great alternatives to choose. And yes, there are even vegan alternatives, plant-based alternatives for cheese, ice cream, whipped cream, and anything else that you can imagine. So if a spell for Imbolc calls you to drink milk or have a milk and honey bath or use milk for another aspect of a spell, I do hope that you think about the mothers who have been separated from their babies and choose soy instead. The second way to celebrate Imbolc I have for you is to make a breed straw doll. These are called breedogs. So breed is one of the goddesses that is most often associated with Imbolc. And so one way to bring the magic of this goddess into your celebration is to make a breejog. Now, traditionally, men in the home make these dolls and hang them over the doors of their home. And you can make them out of straw or grasses by twisting them into the shape of the doll. There's tons of tutorials available online to make these, and then wrap them in fabric to make them a dress, decorate them with flowers or greenery from the garden if those are things that you have in your area right now, and other pretty things that you find in nature. Another way to bring breed into your Imbolc celebration is to make a breed cross. So these are made by soaking your straw overnight and then weaving them around a frame that is made out of sticks. And there are tons of styles. Some have 3 arms, some have 4 arms. You can get as creative as you want. Again, there are tutorials available online. I'm not going to show you how to make them. But you can hang these wherever you want in your home to bring breed into your home and all that she symbolizes. Now, traditionally, children would hang theirs over their bed, the ones that they would make. And it was also believed that a breed cross that was tucked under a mattress would help aid in conception. So if that's something that you're interested in, you might try this method of conceiving. Now, they are also used to bless the seeds before planting in the spring. So if you have a garden, you might make your breed cross and then use it when you are ready to plant your seeds. And those are just a few ways to bring breed into your Imbolc celebration. The fourth way is to have a feast and to light fires. So again, Imbolc is one of the 4 fire festivals of the Wheel of the Year. It is a tradition to light a fire at Imbolc. So this could be inside in your fireplace, or if it is warm enough or nice enough to be outside, you may want to build one in your fire pit outside if that's something that you have, or if there's a community fire pit that you can go visit. So breed is a fire goddess, so fires can be another way to bring breed into your Imbolc celebration. Also, the fire is symbolic of the sun regaining strength after the long winter. You may even like to light a few smaller fires in the form of lighting candles. In the Christian calendar, Imbolc is known as Candlemas, when candles are lit for the Virgin Mary. So if you're aligned with the Virgin Mary, or if you follow this Christian holiday, Imbolc is often celebrated in similar ways to Candlemas. So you may like to light smaller fires and light some candles. But whatever type of fire that you light, be sure to gather your family and friends for the fire lighting and reflect, share, and laugh together. And again, this is also a time for feasting, so bring some food into the fire festivities. Maybe you want to roast some vegan hot dogs on a stick in your fire pit. Maybe you want to toast some marshmallows or cook on an open flame in some other way so that you can bring the feast and the fire together, or just have a potluck of some sort. But just make sure that you gather all of your family and friends together for these activities, because it is a time of celebration because the sun is finally returning. Imbolc is also a good time to spring clean your home. It's a time of cleansing after the long winter. We may have gathered a lot of things and clutter over the winter time as we've been resting and maybe not motivated to do all of the cleaning things that we're meant to do more frequently. So Imbolc is a good time to just jumpstart your cleaning habits again and get rid of anything that's cluttered up, get rid of any stagnated energy. Oftentimes in the winter we keep our windows all closed up, we keep our doors all closed up to keep the cold out. But now's a good time to let that energy flow freely again, and if it is warm enough, you can open up all your windows and let that clean, refreshing, clear air flow through your home. Another idea for celebrating Imbolc is to visit a stream, a river, or a well. Traditionally, Imbolc was a time for visiting holy waters, a spring or a well, and this is to purify yourself and also to bring fertility to your dreams. So fertility doesn't always apply to creating a new life. It is also towards creating a new goal or to manifest your desires. So you can continue this tradition by taking a walk with your family and friends to find some water near your home. It could be a river, a stream, a well, a lake, the ocean, whatever body of water is near you. Take a walk there. If it's clean, you can splash some on yourself. Set an intention to cleanse and to purify and to prepare yourself for setting your intentions for the next solar cycle, to plant your dreams and to watch them grow. Another thing to do when you visit this body of water is to take a piece of ribbon with you and dip it in the water and tie it on a tree nearby. Trees near water are thought to be especially sacred, so these can carry a message of healing and hope for the year. And then also be sure to thank any spirits of the place that you visit and pick up any trash or garbage that you see laying around near the water as a way to express your thankfulness and as an act of kindness. Now, I also like to use the Sabots as a way to give back to my community. So I have a couple of ways for you to volunteer or to donate, corresponding with the season that we're in. So one way is if you live in a place that has snow or ice, you can clean these from the public walkway, especially sidewalks in your neighborhood that maybe don't get plowed by professionals, and especially in front of the homes of your elderly or disabled neighbors who can't or don't have the capability to clear their own walkways. You can also gather up blankets and coats that you're no longer using or purchase new ones that you can then donate to homeless people that you see on the street or directly to a service that collects these types of things. Check in with your local shelters, see what they need. Oftentimes they're overrun with certain things and they need other things that you might not think of, so see what they need and see if you have that you can donate. It's also a good time to clear and prepare your flower bed for planting for yourself. Now if it's covered in snow, this might not be a good time, but if you do have just cold weather and the beds are clear, you can clear out any weeds or leftover plant bits from last year, clean out any leaves and that have fallen from trees, all of that stuff, and get them ready so that when you are ready to plant your seeds in your garden, you don't have to do all of this other work. And it can be fun to invite your neighbors to help you to do this and then offer to help them as well and kind of build that community in that way as well. Another idea is to clean the home of a physically limited person. So again, your elderly or disabled neighbors or people that you know from other community groups. After or before you clean out your own home, you might offer to someone else if they need some help with it, clearing out their clutter as well. And just spend some time getting to know them as you do it. So those are my tips for celebrating Imbolc this season. I hope that you learned something new or that you're excited to celebrate if this is your first Imbolc or if you've been celebrating for a long time. And I look forward to seeing how you celebrate this year. Now, if you're interested in a tutorial on candle magic, you can find one in the unit section, in the unit called Mumbles Membership Courses. There's a tutorial for candle magic. It is a paid tutorial. You can also access it by joining the Mumbles Membership Program, which is a bundle of all of the courses in this section. So if you are interested in that, make sure you check out that unit section. And you'll also want to look for the PDF that I'm uploading with this video. It has all of the correspondences and associations of this time of year with the things that are associated with Imbolc. So you can use them to either build your own ritual or spell for Imbolc, or to make substitutions if you don't have certain ingredients or materials on hand in a spell that you're working with. So make sure you look for that. You can download it, copy it into your own Book of Shadows or your own grimoire, or you can just print it out and put it in your folder or whatever you keep these documents in. So definitely look for that. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Love you guys. Bye.